Hello, welcome to our live program. And today we are looking at how to build a solid foundation for a Scrum Master job, right? Um, I'm going to give you like a really brief presentation on what you need in order to stay engaged or what you need in order to land that first Scrum Master job. But then what we're going to focus on later on, what we're going to focus on later on would be not just how to build that Scrum Master, how to build solid foundation. We're also going to focus a lot on your background, right? On what skills do you need? What are you missing in the entire process? So,
Not just
before we go ahead and get into the details, let me know how where you're watching from. What I want to do for today's session is that I'll be really high level at the first phase, and the second phase, which is going to be after 10 minutes. We want to focus a lot on answering your questions because it's from the questions that you're asking that will help us now to go a bit more deeper into today's conversation. Hello, Adora, I see you watching and everyone joining in. Welcome to the show. And today we want to talk about how to build a solid foundation for a Scrum Master job. Now, why others are joining in, if you want to just click the share button, that is going to be really, really great. I know this is one of those few sessions that will help so many people understand what they're missing, especially people who feel like, oh, you know what, I'm frustrated, it's not working the way I thought it was going to be. So it's going to help them quite a lot in the process. So you want to be so kind to share with someone else, and let's flow from there. So let's me know where you're watching from. Okay, I see Silvanos. Hello, Silvanos. Ifoma, I see Ifoma. Hello. I see Siri. Hello, Siri. Watching from Houston. I see Josephine. Josephine. Hello. And Josephine, I'm definitely going to see in the PO training today. Yeah. And everyone that's connecting today. Hello. So drop a comment. Let's see where we're watching from. I'm just going to give a maximum of a minute so that we can have a couple of people join. Just the reason I'm giving a maximum of a minute is because what we're talking about today, it's very, very important. And I would definitely want to have everyone, especially those who have questions, actually ask their questions at the end. So what I'm focusing on today is the solid foundation you need in order to get a Scrum job. And this is important for everyone who is in the space or who's in the journey of getting a Scrum job. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and get started for today. I'll talk about three main important things. Three main important things you need in the process. Now, the first thing that you need, which I would say the foundation, and I would say many people are missing, it's the mindset. The mindset, it's everything. The way you think, it's everything. When we talk about the mindset, many people got into the Scrum field with the wrong mentality. Many people are doing Scrum as a substitute, right? Many people got there like, oh, it's something very easy. I'm just going to do A, B, C, D. I'll have a job, and that's it. Now, when you get into something with the wrong mindset, what happens is that it's very difficult. It's very difficult for you to scale through when what you were expecting is not what you're actually seeing. So when I talk about the wrong mindset, or when I talk about getting the right mindset, is that you want to treat Scrum not as a job, treat Scrum as a career. For many of us, we're already in a specific career, and you can actually understand exactly what helps you to scale through and be where you are now. It did not start like, okay, I need a job as a nurse, and then you go start looking for a job or you did something. It started with you preparing yourself and you asking a lot of questions. And for many of us, we actually did enroll in an academic institution or in a program that build us and help us with the right culture, with the right mentality before we actually landed that job. For many people, especially those who are in long-term program like pharmacies and doctor, you realize that it took you several years for you to build the knowledge that you needed in order to get into that field. Now, it's quite unfortunate that many of us, when we think about Scrum, we're thinking about Scrum like something I can do like after I get my job, and then after a couple of maybe sessions, I'll be able to get a job. And for many people as well, what they do is that they try as much as possible, and they're like, okay, I get my certification, I get my resume right, I start applying, and then by luck I find a job. Right. Now this is gonna work for very few people who have self-discipline and understand already the inside of what agile or project management is all about. For majority of us, especially for people who have been there for 6 months, 7 months, 1 year, and it's not working for them, it's an indication that you need to reconstruct the way you're looking at Scrum. You need to reconstruct. Now, when you reconstruct, it's going to help you build the energy you need to go through. Many people, I speak to a lot of people who are in this space, and many people, the reason why they're quitting or reason why they're not getting the job, it's not even worry, right? It's just because they don't understand what they are really into. They don't even understand the certification they need to take in order to close the gap. All right, I'm going to give you a couple of examples for some. In September alone in my community, we had about 17 people who had jobs, right? Now, the 17 people who had jobs in the month of September is not because they're certified, it's not because they're taught by me. No, it's because we have been able to build a system that train them on exactly what they need to get a job. Now, the training system is from the mindset. And most often, especially when we are in a space where the market is very busy, you need more than a certification to get a job, right? Majority of people who actually had jobs, they had also higher certification, which means that they're thinking of not just getting a job, they're thinking of a career. When you're thinking of a career, what happened? You build a mindset that helps you to do what is a bit above what an average person in the market is looking for. That's a mindset. That's the first place everyone should start. What can I do today that help me take the next step towards that? Now, I've also seen people have about three, four, five, six, seven certification, and they cannot make use of those certification. What is the difference? They are treating Scrum as, okay, if I have many certification, I will get an interview. Now you will realize that you have many certification, you have a good resume, you get an interview, but you don't get to pass through the interview. Right. I did a post yesterday on my LinkedIn profile, and I guess many of you have also seen it. I've seen it, and I said there are five main things a recruiter is listening to when they ask you, "Tell me about yourself." They don't just want to hear you speak. There's a lot they want to pick from there. And you will see someone with a well-crafted resume, and when they're talking, you're trying to align who they are and the resume, it doesn't really make sense. Which means that the foundation is not a certification and a good resume. The foundation is you, the way you build yourself and master every stuff. Now, one of the things we've been able to do, right? It took us quite a while to get to where we can help 17 people actually get a job in a month. Now, what it's about building a structure, looking at what is working, refining people to the space to a position where we can have people reorganize as team, and they're able to do all the events that happens in a race scrum world. So you realize that this is a practice that have been going on for a couple of months, and they're able to get to a point where there is a result that is being created. It's not something that just happened at once. And the same thing when you're building a foundation, you want to be able to define the future you're going to, what you need, the gap you need to close. So we have our program is called the 90 days to a Scrum job. But what I advise people is that for some people, it will take them less, for some people, it will take them more. What's the key foundation? The mindset. If you understand that I'm not even good in sharing my screen, I'm not even good in designing a document on Word, I'm not good in making a PowerPoint. Now, these are the different things that you need to learn in order to prepare yourself towards the job. So you cannot come in as an expert who is already so good in this stuff, and what the only thing they need to focus on, grabbing the concept and the mastery, and then going to the job. Right. So the mindset, it's what it's keeping so many people in one spot. Now, when you get your mindset set correctly, the next thing you pay attention on it now the right certification. My master certification I recommend is the safe certification because it puts you in a position where you can fully compete for all Scrum positions. Now, I'm not saying that those who have PSM or CSM, they cannot get a job. There's so many Scrum job opportunities there. But you realize for those who have just PSM and CSM and they're interviewing, you realize in most of the cases, they are going to ask you, or do you have a safe certification? There are some positions you cannot apply there if you don't have a scale agile certification. Now, apart from getting those certification, what you also need to do is looking at how to level up. Now you have all the basic certification. You want to, especially when you know that you've done your homework and it's becoming still a bit difficult for you to skate through. You want to be able to think about the next level certification, the next level thinking. For many people in our community, we push them to take the ROT certification. Now, just imagine I'm looking for a Scrum Master, and then the five people who applied. And out of those five people, there's one person who also have an advanced certification. Let's say an ROT certification, let's say an advanced Scrum Master certification. Let's say in addition to just their Scrum certification, they have a PO certification. I'm definitely going to go after them first, right? When I go after them, and if I don't find what I'm needing in them, I'm also going to visit other people, right? So the second is understanding how certification is on how to position yourself competitively in the market. It's not everything you need, which is why I don't put that in front as the first step. I've seen people who have had a Scrum job without any certification, right? But they actually did build a right mindset, practice, and then went in. Right. This is just to tell you that certification doesn't mean that you're open to having a job. Okay. Now, the third aspect which you need to focus on is the sustenance. One thing which is very important for anyone in any career field is to understand that you don't decide to quit on your own, right? Nobody will decide to quit. The reason people quit is because when you're on the same level for a very long time, what happened? It's a result you're creating for yourself. When you're on the same level for a long time, you don't decide to quit that level because now your mind, how am I going to explain this? Okay. Um, let's take, for instance, you're going to school, right? Or you're going to college or you're in the university, and you take the same course, right? Or you stay on the same level for the next 5 years. What happened? No one is going to advise you to quit. The result you're creating is what motivates you to either stay or to leave. So the result you create, it's also a voice on its own. So if you're struggling and doing the same thing, what is happening is that you're creating result, and that result is speaking back to you. For those who don't quit, you realize that they have a way they can assess their progress. They will notice that, oh, there's some improvement and I'm making progress. And because they're making progress, this is enough encouragement for them not to quit. So the three main importance I've spoken about, and you can start putting in your question. I'm going to take the next 15 minutes to answer any question that you have in terms of why you are not really getting the job or what. Uh, 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 Let me just put it generic question on Scrum, right? But I want you to focus on what you can do to bridge the gap, right? I want you to focus on what you can do to bridge the gap, or I want you to focus on specific challenges you're going through in the process and how you can resolve that. rather than asking, can you define this and can you define this? Because the definition is definitely not an issue with so many people. It's not about, I don't understand how to define this or how will you answer this question. That is important, but if you want to look at how to answer question, there are 110 YouTube video on how to answer every question. The problem we're having is not about how to answer question. It's how to build a solid foundation where you become the answer, where everything is in you. If you're still struggling on how do I answer this question, how do I answer this question, is because you're missing out the foundation. You're missing out everything that you need to learn in order to get to a point where you answer question. If I ask you the question, what did you have for breakfast this morning? You're not going to struggle to tell me because you have the answer in you. So building a foundation for building a solid foundation is when you learn and the answer is in you. If you ask me, tell me about spring planning or how you conduct your spring planning, I can answer that same question in 10 different ways, right? And all of them are going to be correct. Why? Because it's not just about me. How do I answer it? I know exactly what spring planning is. I know exactly what the goal is. And I can be able to explain to you in order to align to the goal. All right. So let me see what questions you have, most especially for those who are struggling and they are not able to close the gap. I want to be able to see what questions do you have for me that I can help guide you towards that process. And because I have a very busy week this week, I will not be giving out position for free coaching this week. Maybe in my next live session, which if I have the opportunity, I'm going to do that on Friday. I might give people the opportunity to book free consultation. But my week this week is very tied up, and I can actually do that. Okay. All right. And we see someone here. So Bambi says, I'm a knowledgeable resume writer specialized in creating resume for Scrum Master, Project Manager, Agile coaches. Um, if you need that help, kindly message them, right? A resume is a very important point that helps sets you out. But I always say that if you have a good resume and your knowledge cannot match that resume, then don't start applying. If you get someone with an expert help you build your resume, your assignment is to make sure that you represent that resume, which means that you know exactly what is in the resume and how you can defend that. If not, you're not yet ready for any job interview. Okay, perfect. So, what are your questions? What questions do you have for me? Especially, um, you feel like you've done everything possible and you're not getting a result, or you feel like I'm not getting interviews, what might be the case, and all of that. Those are the different questions I definitely want to address today and to help redirect you to any result that might be useful for you. Okay, and if we don't have a question for today, I guess the information was definitely very useful. Now, I'm doing a series on YouTube called How to Land Your First Job. I think I'm in series four, right? Yes, I'm quite sure I'm in series four. And series five is going to go out tomorrow. Series five tomorrow, I'm going to talk about spring planning. And these are kind of practical stuff that helps you to know exactly what you need to get a job, right? The different series I'm doing. So if you definitely maybe got on series five and you did not start from series one, most of what I discussed today, I capture it in series one and building a solid foundation. And then the last series I focus on um, backlog refinement using Jira. In my next series, I'm going to be focusing on sprint planning, and a couple of other series, I'll focus on the different events and how to go in depth with those events. Okay, I will see you in my next live session. and hopefully we'll get the opportunity to answer generic questions on interviews. But today it was more on you understanding what you need to do. And my last word or comment before I leave is that when you're doing something constantly, and you've been doing it and it's not giving you the result you need, it's an indication that you need to do something different. Right, it's an indication that you need to do something differently. So the question you want to ask yourself in order to bridge any gap is, what do I need to do differently in order to get the result I'm looking for? What do I need to do differently? When you ask yourself that question, then you can be able to get the result you're looking for. All right, everyone, have a good afternoon, and I'll see you on the other side.